Hey guys, Meteorologist Chris Tomer here with this Tuesday mountain weather update. My first stop is going to be Big Sky, Montana. A beautiful sunrise, a little alpenglow up there, but man, it is cold up there. About 18 below zero right now. That's an air temp at the top of Lone Peak, which you can see in the distance. So it is extremely cold. This cold air sliding right down the eastern side of the Rockies through Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and out into the heartland where we are seeing a mix of rain and snow. And I'll show you some of that coming up. But beautiful view this morning. Let me take you over to radar this morning. Not a lot happening across the west. We're really just kind of waiting on our next big storm system. We had a little bit of snow in Colorado kind of slide through overnight, primarily east of the Continental Divide, down around Denver, the Eastern Plains. You can see some tiny speckles of blue there, but nothing to write home about, just as of yet. So out to the east, all the energy that's moving into the west coast is sliding through the Rockies and then becomes a storm system for a lot of the mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, the East Coast, and the Northeast. And there's the latest storm system. I'll sort of zoom out here. You can see it moving into a lot of Kentucky and West Virginia, southern Ohio. Eventually snow for Baltimore, Washington, Philadelphia, New York with this. This is just the first of what's going to be about 3 different storm systems over the next 7 days for a lot of these same areas. Um, so all of the actions just sliding out to the east and developing into storm systems. Now looking at the west here, this is the water vapor satellite imagery for low levels. So oranges and reds are going to be your drier air. And then your moistures in the whites and the blues. And you can kind of see this little wave right here sliding through Colorado. There's the storm system sliding up through the Ohio Valley. Now back here, I pointed this out the last couple of days. This big dip in the jet, that's all associated with our next storm cycle that's going to move into the west. And that's going to be a major storm system. And it really does pave the way behind it for additional weather, additional storm systems. And there's a slight risk here that we could see some weak to maybe low level, moderate intensity atmospheric river contribution, say on the 13th into potentially early on the 14th. And as a result of this, my numbers have increased for parts of the Sierra and also a few areas of the interior. One of those would be the Wasatch in southwest Colorado. If you're looking at bullseyes with this, Sierra, Wasatch, western and southwest Colorado, and the numbers are decent for the Tetons as well. So all of that we'll look at in this forecast coming up. Here's my snow timeline. So there's a lot of dates on this. I'm going to take the camera view off of this so you can really see all the dates. There's a lot of action here. Big Sky, Wasatch, Tetons, Colorado, Interior BC, the Pacific Northwest, Tahoe, and the Northeast. So best chances of new snow over the next 7, 8, 9, 10 days. So we looked at Big Sky. We've got some light to moderate snow coming in late 13, 14, early 15. And then the heavy stuff is 216, 17, 18 for Big Sky. In the Wasatch, light this afternoon. And then the heavy stuff is afternoon, evening, 213, 214, 215. And it's looking pretty good. In the Tetons, the real heavy stuff comes in late 213, 214, early 215. So very similar timelines here. And then another shot of heavy snow late 216 and 17. Colorado is showing a lot of potential. The dates, you can see those. Potentially some heavy snow accumulation late 211 into early 212. And then another shot of heavy snow afternoon, evening, 213, 214, 215, and maybe even a moderate shot beyond that. And I'm not going to go through all these, but you can see Tahoe, the numbers have gone up between late 212, 213, and 214. So there's a lot of snow in this forecast for sure. All right, let's drill down. So this is going to be Alta. Yes, this is going to be Alta. This is a forecast mediagram for Alta, Utah, effective about 9,000 feet. Let me just make sure we're on the right one. Yep. And notice it's quiet the next couple of days. So today, the 11th, Wednesday, the 12th, I don't have any snow forecast. The wind's 20 to 30 miles an hour. High temps today at about 9,010. Tomorrow, it's quite cold. It might remain below zero all day tomorrow up at the ski areas. at 9,000. And the temperatures come up just a little bit. We're working on the 20s as the big snow comes in with this storm system on the 13, 14, 15 timeframe. And just through, what is that, midday on the 14th, this is putting out 3 feet of snow for that Alta area at 9,000. So very representative of Snowbird, Solitude, Brighton. So this is going to be a big one. This is going to be a big snow. So you're storm skiing into the 14th with big powder through the 14th into the 15th. Okay, so that's Alta. Let me take you to Jenny Lake up in Wyoming. All right, so this is the Jenny Lake corridor. And the elevation for this is about 8,700 feet. So anywhere from the Jackson Hole ski area all the way north to just north of the Grand Teton, Mount Owen, and that area. Well, so it's quiet today, quiet tomorrow. There's nothing there. I mean, there might be a passing snow shower, but the real heavy stuff comes in afternoon 13, 14, and likely into the early morning hours of the 15th. And then again, there might be another shot down the road. But just through that midday on the 14th, this cranks out about 15 inches of snow. Winds definitely increase 30 to 35, 40 miles an hour as this front approaches. High temps up there at about 8,700 feet today. Wow, it's cold. About zero. Tomorrow it's below zero all day, so Wednesday is quite cold, and then the temperatures do come up as that next storm system moves in, and then they'll likely fall behind it as well. But that's your Arctic blast out ahead of it. Okay, let's talk about Colorado just briefly. I put a time height in here. This is for Wolf Creek. Wolf Creek is one of my big bullseyes, not just in Colorado, but across the West. So there's an initial wave of some light snow accumulation, and that's kind of happening all the way now through this afternoon, tonight, tomorrow morning. So an initial wave. Then a larger storm system. You can see the green. You're reading this from right to left. This is a 72-hour forecast. I should have said this. It is for humidity in the atmosphere over Wolf Creek through all the layers, the vertical layers. And so the bigger wall of green comes in when we get into late 13 into 14 into 15. So a couple different waves. Wolf Creek's going to be one of the harder hit areas across the West. Jet stream level forecast. I'm looking for the brighter colors. This is all up at about 30,000 feet in the atmosphere, jet stream level. So the steering wind for a lot of these storm systems. You can see the dip in the jet quickly crossing the Rockies. I'll start at 11 o'clock today. So again, whatever's happening in the west gets moved to the east and becomes a big storm system. All right, so here we are early on the 12th, storm system coming through tonight, tomorrow morning for a lot of the interior, and then that moves away. Then it's a waiting game. Here comes our big storm system. So this is late on the 13th right here. Here's early on the 14th. Look at the trough, the big dip in the jet coming into the west coast, the northern tier, the interior west. This is lunchtime on the 14th. Here's late on the 14th. That storm nailing Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, northern New Mexico, parts of the Sierra. We'll get in on this early on. The Snow Bowl of Arizona, Bryan Head of Utah, all on this. Here's early on the 15th. Storm slides out, becomes a large storm system for the plains, and then eventually moves into the Midwest and the East Coast. But that's not it. That storm kind of greases the skids. This is late on the 16th. There's some additional energy, not as big, but additional storm systems coming in from the west that hits the west and the interior west. This is 11 a.m. on Friday, or Monday the 17th, excuse me. And this is early Tuesday. Another storm system. Look at that shortwave trough coming through the Rockies right there. This is early morning on Tuesday the 18th. So the pattern keeps rolling. Let's take a look at snow accumulation over time. So the light blues on this are going to be under 3 inches of accumulation. When you see the yellows right there over parts of the Ohio Valley, Kentucky, West Virginia, the greens are 3 to 6, yellows are 6 plus, and reds are 10 plus as far as snow accumulation goes. Okay, so this is 11 a.m. Tuesday. This is 11 a.m. today. All right, here we go. Storm moves towards the big cities. Here comes the next wave moving down out of Wyoming and into Colorado. You can see the light accumulations. This is late today. the 11th into early February 12th here. This is 5 a.m. Notice the snow accumulation across Colorado, the eastern plains, moving out into the plains, and that becomes another storm system, which nails Chicago, a lot of parts of Michigan, northwest Ohio, and that moves into the northeast with some snow for the ski areas of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. This is midday on February 13th. Now, at this point, you can look to the west and see our major storm coming. Heavy snow for the Sierra, snow for Oregon, and then that whole storm moves into Idaho, Utah, starts to nail the Wasatch. The Tetons will be getting potentially heavy snow accumulation. Southern Utah, northern Arizona, western and southwest Colorado. This is early Friday the 14th, continuing to hammer Colorado. And then that storm starts to move out to the plains where it becomes a major storm for parts of the Midwest with snow and ice again. This is midday on the 15th. And then it moves up into the northeast. Here's early Sunday the 16th. Another little short wave coming through Colorado. Another storm up in the Pacific Northwest. This is late on Sunday the 16th. Here's early Monday the 17th. This storm kind of coming down on a northwest flow through the Rockies. So another surge of snow through the Tetons, the Wasatch, and parts of Colorado. This is 11 a.m. on Tuesday, February 18th. So another storm for Colorado, and then it pulls out into the plains into early Wednesday, February 19th. Let's snow accumulation. My official numbers here, all of today through the 16th, we'll start in the Wasatch. I bumped it up essentially another foot. So now we're looking at 2 to 3 feet of accumulation across the Wasatch. So heavy stuff. And remember the timeline for this in the Wasatch. The first batch of heavy snow comes in afternoon 2:13, 2:14, 2:15, and then potentially a second batch around 2:17. Okay, and then let's move up to the Tetons. 16 to 18 inches, haven't changed that. In Montana, 6 to 8 inches around Big Sky, Bridger Bowl, less up in northwest Montana. I've got 8s through Brundage, Bogus Basin, and Sun Valley. Pretty light stuff up interior BC. Now, late in the period, the numbers for the Pacific Northwest start to go up as the pattern starts to shift into that area where we could start to pick up some decent accumulations. But it's a waiting game. It's going to be dry up until that point. Pretty dry. Now, down in California, got a couple of feet for Shasta. Bumped up the numbers for Tahoe and Mammoth to basically 3 to 4 feet of accumulation. So this is going to be a big one for that area. Down in Big Bear, about 10 inches. You can't see it, but it's on there. Snowball up to Bryan. I haven't changed those numbers, anywhere from 1 to 2 feet. In western and southwest Colorado, that's a bullseye of about 30 inches around Aspen, Snowmass, Crested Butte, the Highlands, Buttermilk. About 30 down over the top of Silverton Mountain, Red Mountain Pass. I've got 4 feet over the top of Wolf Creek, so that's a bullseye. And then anywhere from 1 to 2 feet for most of the other zones of Colorado. About 10 to 20 inches through a lot of Tahoe, Ski Santa Fe, and Angel Fire, and that'll do it. In the Northeast, we still got great accumulation ahead, roughly another foot for a lot of New York State, Vermont, northern New Hampshire, 8, 9, 10 through a lot of the southern parts of New Hampshire and Maine. A little bit less in Massachusetts. Snow Ridge, you're the beneficiary of some lake effect. And that's just through 216. So we'll end on the big western map here, and man, we've got some good snow ahead. I like what I'm seeing with this pattern. Major storm comes through 213 through 217 with heavy snow accumulations and a few different bullseyes. So keep my eyes on this thing. And guys, thanks for tuning in here. Always appreciate it. Take care and have a great day.